When it comes to Blue Lock Rivals, every time a rework is announced, the community reacts in waves. But this time feels different. We're not just talking about another update, another tweak, or a random stat adjustment. We're talking about Yukimiya, one of the most long-requested and long-discussed characters in the game, finally getting his rework. And honestly, this is something people have been waiting months for, if not longer. Let's break down why this is such a big deal. Yukimiya right now sits in the Legendary tier. On paper, that might sound impressive. Legendary is supposed to mean strong, reliable, a solid pick for almost anyone who is spinning the lucky spins. And if you look at the recent buffs, you'd think he's actually in a good spot. His dribbling feels smooth, his peak moments are satisfying, and in certain matchups he can still dominate. But here's the honest truth. Even at his best, he's constantly overshadowed. Because as much as Yukimiya has been buffed over time, the tier system in Blue Lock Rivals makes it painfully obvious. Any mythic will blow past him, and world-class characters are simply on another level entirely. If you're serious about climbing or playing at the highest level, you know the Legendary tier has a hard ceiling. And Yukimiya, despite being one of the good ones in that tier, just can't compete once you start looking upward. So while he's good right now, he's also kind of stuck. And that's why this rework matters. Here's the part that makes this even more interesting. Yukimiya isn't just another legendary, he's been a fan favorite across Blue Lock Rivals and even in other Blue Lock-inspired games. People gravitate to him, and the reason is simple. He represents the Emperor in One's archetype. In dribbling duels, he feels like someone who was born for that role. His entire design and personality lean into that flashy, almost regal style of play. That identity, that sense of being the king of one-on-one moments, is what kept him relevant even when the stats didn't fully back him up. And honestly, that's also why people have been begging for his rework. Because his fanbase wants his gameplay to finally live up to the image he's built everywhere else. If you've been watching Discord threads, community posts, you know what I mean. For the last month, Yukimiya has been at the top of everyone's "please rework this guy" list. The momentum was building for weeks, and now that the devs have officially announced it, the energy feels like it's about to explode. This isn't just another patch note drop. This is one of those updates that could define how the player base feels going into the next few months. So what does this rework actually mean for the game? First, Yukimiya is finally going to be redefined. He's not just going to be a legendary who can hold his own. The devs are giving him the treatment that could put him in the same conversation as the stronger tiers, or at least make him competitive against mythics in the right situations, and the devs maybe will return him into the mythic tier. And that matters because if Yukimiya can hold his ground against the big names, it proves something larger. That reworks aren't just about fixing old characters, but about actively keeping the meta because, let's be honest, everyone is tired of playing every match and seeing the same styles every day. It means you don't have to abandon your favorite style just because a higher rarity exists. And here's where it gets even bigger. The devs have also made it clear everything below Mythic is eventually going to get reworked. That's massive. Because for months, people have been stuck in this mindset that once you unlock or roll something beyond Legendary, everything else becomes irrelevant. The gap felt permanent. But if the devs really commit to systematically reworking the entire sub-mythic lineup, that changes the game completely. It means your old pulls, your ignored characters, your early favorites, they all have a shot at being revived. That's not just good for gameplay balance, it's good for the health of the game as a whole. Updates like this don't just fix balance problems, they breathe life into the community. And right now, the community is hungry for exactly that. If you've noticed the player counts, they've been climbing steadily whenever hype builds around new announcements. With Yukimiya's rework, I wouldn't be surprised to see online numbers hitting 300,000 or more. Because this isn't just content for hardcore grinders. This is content that brings back casuals, veterans, and anyone who fell in love with Yukimiya across Blue Lock games. And the best part? When people see the devs actually listening to requests, delivering on what the community has been asking for, it builds trust. That's something you can't buy with marketing. That's how you grow a game, week by week. Of course, Yukimiya isn't the only one who needs attention. We've talked before about unpopular but actually solid characters like Chigiri, Corona, and a bunch of others who just don't get the spotlight. My personal hope is that the devs treat these characters in batches, the same way Crawlo once did with revamps. Give them all a chance to shine again, not just one by one, but as a collective push. That way, the meta doesn't just get one shakeup, it gets waves of them. And let's not forget about the elephant in the room, Isagi. His case is different. I think his path is going to be downgrade first, rework after, drop him to Mythic, retool his kit, and then eventually bring him back up to world class where he belongs. That would make sense, and it would keep the balance flow intact without overloading the top of the roster. At the end of the day, Yukimiya's rework isn't just another update. It's a statement. It's the devs saying, yes, we hear you. Yes, we're willing to go back and fix the characters you care about. And that's why I think everyone is going to celebrate this one. Because whether you're a die-hard Yukimiya main or someone who never touched him, this sets a precedent. It shows that no character is beyond saving, and no style has to be forgotten. So here we are. Yukimiya, the flashy emperor of 1v1s, finally getting the rework that everyone has been waiting for. A character stuck in Legendary, finally breaking free of that cage. A fan favorite across multiple games, finally being given the attention he deserves. And it's not just about him, it's about all the legendaries, all the old characters, and all the players who want to see this game thrive. This update is proof that the devs are serious about balance, about community, and about keeping Blue Lock rivals alive and kicking. If the player base keeps responding the way I think it will, and if the devs keep delivering like this, the game isn't just going to hold at 300,000 online, it's going to grow. And week by week, rework by rework, we might just see Blue Lock rivals enter a new golden era. And honestly, this is where things get really exciting. Because Yukimiya's rework isn't just about patch notes or power levels, it's about momentum. Every update like this adds fuel to the fire, and when the community sees that progress is steady and meaningful, it creates a reason to log in tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. That's how a game builds consistency, not just hype. The thing with Yukimiya is that he represents that bridge between casual play and competitive play. He's flashy enough for highlight reels, but also technical enough that skilled players can push his limits. When you rework someone like that, you're not just adjusting a character, you're giving players a new tool to express themselves. And expression is what keeps games alive. The feeling that your way of playing matters, that your favorite character is viable. What I'm looking forward to most is the ripple effect this will have. If Yukimiya turns out to be a success story, then every legendary rework that follows will carry higher expectations, and that pushes the devs to keep raising the bar. That's good pressure, the kind of pressure that keeps a game improving instead of stagnating. So yeah, Yukimiya's rework is here, but really it's just the beginning of something bigger. A reminder that no matter how the meta shifts, no matter which names dominate the tier lists, the devs can always bring someone back, and the community can always rally behind it. If they keep this up, Blue Lock Rivals doesn't just stay relevant. It becomes one of those games people look back on as a milestone for how to keep a competitive scene thriving.